The first thing you're going to do is choose a color of paper and create a square. And after you have a square, you're going to cut the corners in a rounded edge to make each corner of your square a rounded corner. If you chose a warm color of paper, you're going to choose warm colors to work with today. If you choose a cool color of paper, you're going to choose cool colors like blue, green, and purple. But I chose a pink, so I'm using warm colors to make my lines and designs today. So reds, oranges, and yellows and pinks. So I'm going to divide my square up using different kinds of lines, and only about 3 lines you need to draw so that you have about 6 large spaces to work in and create different patterns. So I have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think 5 or 6 is good. And then in each space, you are going to create a design. So I'm going to start with just stripes, and I'm going to color in each stripe just to make it a little different and to show some more color. So it looks like a bold orange stripe and a pink stripe and an orange stripe and a pink stripe. Now I'm going to move on to this section, and make sure you choose a crayon that you can see on your paper. So red shows up a little better on this darker pink paper. And I'm going to choose my favorite lines, zigzag lines, and I'm writing pretty dark with my crayon so that you can see my line patterns. And I'm filling the whole space with zigzag lines. Now in the next space, I'm going to turn my paper and I'm going to create polka dots in this space. And I'm just going to fill the space with different sizes of polka dots randomly all over this space. And in my last space here, I'm just going to kind of fill this with some different lines going in different directions, kind of make it look like hair or grassy texture. It's kind of tangled. And in this last section, I'm just doing squiggles and swirls. Now I'm going to make my eyes, and I'm going to cut a piece of white paper and find an object to trace a circle to create some eyes for my monster. If you don't have an object to trace, that's okay. You can just free draw your circle, but I found this bottle of paint and I'm going to place it close to the edge so that I don't waste paper and it saves me from having to cut a whole lot. So I'm just going to trace my circle one time and go the whole way around there. And I could trace this again, but instead I am going to fold my paper in half, or actually not in half. I'm going to fold it into thirds so it will give me 3 circles so I can make 3 eyes for my monster. So I folded it in half 3 times, and I'm cutting and not doing a very good job holding it in front of the camera, but you'll see here in a minute. I will have 3 circles for eyes. And now I'm going to draw the iris, or the colored part of the eye. And I'm going to leave a little white space in the middle for the pupil, but I'm going to make the blue the iris, the colored part of an eye, and I'm leaving room for the pupil. Then I'll use a darker blue just to create a little bit of interest, make it look deeper. And now I'm going to color in the pupil, or the black part of the eye. And I'm going to add emphasis around my eyes by outlining the iris so that it stands out. So now that my eyes are done, I'm going to create an eyelid, and I'm going to just trace around this eye, leaving a little bit of space, not directly close to the eye, but just kind of creating a ring around the eye so that it's a little bit larger than my eye. And I'm going to cut this out. And I'm going to cut it in half. And then I'm going to trace one of those halves because I have 3 eyes and I need 3 halves. So I'm just going to trace one half and cut that out. So the eyelid is the part of the eye that covers your eyes when you close your eyes. So I'm going to put those like a little hat on top of the eyeballs that I created. And I'm going to play around with where to put them on my monster's face. And once I find a spot for them, I'm going to glue them down. Once I have them in place, I turn my paper over and rub it so that the glue can really set onto the paper. The next thing I'm going to make is my monster's mouth. So I'm going to use another color of construction paper, and I'm just going to draw a mouth shape on this piece of paper. And it doesn't have to be, it can be any shape you want to create. And I'm going to cut it out. But keep in mind as you're making your mouth shape that your mouth is going to show your monster's expression. So if your monster is happy, what kind of a mouth would you make your monster? If he was angry, what kind of mouth would you make him? I think my monster is showing that he's a little bit silly. So I made him a silly free-form mouth. And I am going to now add some teeth. So I'm going to use one of my scraps from my eyeballs, and I'm going to create a couple teeth for my monster. How many teeth your monster has is going to show us a little bit about your monster too. Are they sharp, pointy teeth, or are they rounded teeth that are maybe not so scary? Does your monster just have one tooth because it's a baby, or does it have a lot of teeth because it's a grown up? These are things to think about while you're making your monster mouth. My monster has square teeth, and he's got a lot of them. He kind of looks like a jack-o'-lantern, but I'm gonna glue his mouth on and find a good place for it. Press it down. And then I'm also going to outline kind of like where his lips would be, to add emphasis and to show just a little bit of differentiation in color to make the inside of his mouth look darker and make his teeth stand out. The next thing you're going to think about is adding details like eyebrows or a mustache to your monster, maybe ears or horns. So I am playing around with creating some eyebrows right now. So I just chose a scrap of construction paper, and I am going to place them around on my monster. I'm not sure that I really like these eyebrows because I have 3 eyes. So I think I might go in a different direction and create something else for this monster. Let's see. So I am going to add some purple horns onto my monster. I think that will make this monster have a little bit of personality. I'm going to glue these down. And the last thing I'm going to use is my dark colored crayons, like a black or a purple or a dark blue, and I'm going to add small details to my monster. So eyelashes and I don't know, other things you might want to add, maybe warts or expressions like wrinkles or anything like that that you would want to add to your monster. And then I'm really making sure that I am carefully outlining all of my monster's facial features. So all of the eyes and the eyelids and the nose or the mouth that you made, you're going to carefully outline them with your dark crayon. Outlining adds emphasis. And emphasis is a principle of art that draws people's attention to certain things on an artist's artwork. So by outlining things, we want people to notice these features that we are carefully outlining. All right, I've carefully outlined everything, and my monster is now complete. I can't wait to see what kind of crazy creative monsters you create.